Well, I think, at one level, there are sort of preventive things. There's some research on adolescent parents' awareness of adolescents' actual experiences. And the finding naturally was that adolescents who disclose to parents are the parents who know. But the sort of developmental finding was that the way you can increase the likelihood you'll having a self-disclosing adolescent is by establishing in childhood the message, there's nothing you could do, there's nothing you could feel, there's nothing that you could happen to you, that if you told me about it, I would stop loving you. And that becomes the prevention so that you have a kid who's confident about disclosing, and then at least you have access to the world. You don't get these secret lives developing. So I think that's one sort of piece of advice. A second one is the need for a sort of conservatism. There used to be a book they gave to new teachers, which was called Don't Smile Until Christmas. And the message was you can always let up as a teacher with a class of kids, but it's hard to sort of go back and reassert control or authority. And so the same thing might be said of parents, that if you're conservative about it, that you create the expectation that you are in charge. I think, with young children, I always urge people to get away from the okay syndrome, turning what should be declarative sentences into questions with the addition of the word okay, as in, time for bed now, okay? Eat your beans now, okay? It sort of sounds like you have no idea what you're doing. And then it shouldn't come as a surprise when they're 14 and you say, be home at 10 o'clock. And they say, well, who are you to tell me to home at 4 o'clock? You didn't know if I should eat my beans when I was 5. So I think there are some very concrete things like that to keep it declarative. Go to bed now because you need your rest. Eat your beans because they're good for you. That's somebody who's a leader and sort of conveys and merits authority. So this is very well intentioned on the part of parents. Often they feel their parents were too directive and they don't want to be so directive. But I think they make a big mistake when they do that. So I think there are things like that. But I think certainly cutting through it, is, for example, the work of Ronald Rohner, that rejection is a psychological cancer. And of course it's easy to accept a child who's easy. And if we think of children with easy temperaments, Chess and Thomas found that only 10% of easy babies had significant adjustment difficulties in elementary school, but among temperamentally difficult babies it was 80%. So acceptance of an easy child is easy. The real lesson is, can you communicate acceptance to a difficult child? And not a blanket permission for their behavior, but finding that very difficult, maybe most difficult of parental messages, I love and accept you, and you have to change this behavior. I mean, there are some people who think you can't do it simultaneously. Some of the more behavioral psychologists, Gerald Patterson, say you have to treat it like a bank account. You have to put positive regard in the bank to draw out maybe 8 positives for every 1 you draw out. I don't know if it's that mechanistic, but I think the message that you have to find a way that at the heart of it, the child feels acceptance, and then you're sort of fine-tuning from there. But it's a big, big, big challenge, and let's say I'm glad I'm past it in a way.